Shohei knocked the lights out on any glimmer of hope the Brewers had in coming back in this series and finished off the Brewers in 4.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody from Dodger Stadium. My name is Chuck Freimund, proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin. And it was here where the Brewers season came to a crumbling halt after 5 days and 4 games. Coming up, we'll talk about that futile finish. Did 97 wins mean anything? Give you some really futile series numbers for some of these guys and a quick offseason look as well. Shohei Ohtani, one for the record books. And, of course, it was against the Brewers here tonight. Homering in his first at bat, hit one about 428 or so off Quintana. But he wasn't done. Homered again on top of one of those canopies over there. It was like the third longest home run in Dodger history, Dodger Stadium history. And that goes back a long way. And then, hit one for good measures. 3 in 1 game. And then what he did on the mound, the single greatest postseason performance in baseball history, maybe one of the single great performances all around in not only postseason, but Major League history. And it was at the expense of the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers tonight, I held a little glimmer of hope coming into this game. I know only one team, the 2004 Boston Red Sox. And today was the 21st anniversary of them starting their comeback against the Yankees that night. We're down 0-3, and I thought, could the Brewers possibly do that again? I kind of laid out the scenario last night, one step at a time, one game at a time, that old scenario. But then Shohei hit that leadoff home run, and I wanted to leave. This place was rocking. And then Mookie Betts singled, and Quintana gave up 3 first-inning runs. And as you know, with the way the Brewers are these days, 3 runs, insurmountable. Now, this was August, little different story. July, little different story. But this Brewers team isn't that same Brewers team. No fight whatsoever. And you could credit the pitching staff of the Dodgers all day. And yes, I know all these guys, Ohtani was great, and Blake Snell, Glasnow, go on and on with these guys. They threw 4 guys at the Brewers and never had to depend on their bullpen. And that's what the Brewers needed to do to win this series. They had to get to the Dodger bullpen. Never really did, except for the 9th inning in Game 1. They had him on the ropes a little bit. Had a chance. Winning run on second. Couldn't win the game. And that was it right there. And then really never threatened the Dodgers in any of these games. This, if you weren't a Brewers fan, the least entertaining maybe postseason series I've ever seen. There was just no guts to this. Ohtani tonight put on a show here tonight, but the Brewers offered no fight. And if you were watching the Brewers for a first time in this series, you would have said to yourself, how did that team win 97 games? You would. I don't know if the Brewers look at it that way. I was at the Brewer clubhouse, and I will say this is the first time I've been in a losing clubhouse when a team has lost a playoff series, when it wasn't sad at all. It wasn't, you could hear a pin drop. There were guys hugging and congratulating each other, and it didn't have your typical last game of the season of the playoffs, a playoff ender kind of mood. Now, I've been in some tough clubhouses when a season's come to an end. I've been in some tough clubhouses when a team has lost the regular season game in July, including these guys. but that didn't have it. And I think the Brewers kind of looked at this as surrendering. They knew they were beaten by a better team, even though they went 6-0 against them during the regular season. And I think they also look at it that this is maybe a start of something new. They do have to get better in a few areas. Yeah, 97 wins. What do you need to do? Win 100 games? Did the regular season mean anything? Did 97 wins really ever mean anything? Other than it gave us a great summer, right? We had a lot of fun this summer. 11-game winning streak in July, 14-game winning streak, countless amazing games. Most of the Brewer games this year went right down to the final inning. Right down to the final, and they won most of those games, right down to the final at bat. And even games they didn't win, yeah, they left us on the edge of our seat. I'll say this was probably the most exciting Milwaukee Brewers season ever. Now, you wouldn't have known it from these 4 games here, but it was a fun summer. And I don't want to get into the summer of fun again, because I'm all about winning championships. Walking by the Dodger trophy case today and seeing all those trophies in there. We don't have any. And, I don't know how the Brewers get into that class. Like I've said, I've seen the Dodgers play this year many times, July and August, and they were brutal. And Dave Roberts throughout the season would say, well, yeah, we just got to get something going here. We got to get something going. Meantime, they did. They got hot in their final series against Seattle and then turned it on here in Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee. They steamrolled through all 3 of these series. And Philly, pretty good team. Philly was one of the favorites. Milwaukee, obviously. But there's a reason why the Dodgers were the Vegas favorite. People were going to bet on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are probably going to win the World Series. They are a machine right now. So the one consolation is, yeah, you ran into a hot team. But how do we become that hot team? We've said all along, hey, regular season, you got to translate this into the postseason. And they didn't do it. The Brewers did not translate this into the postseason. They did not translate those 97 wins into the postseason. Did they run out of gas? They played with so much energy and so much fight throughout the season, outsmarted teams. Double play tonight. I mean, Freely grounded in a double play, not that one, which is amazing because, he doesn't do that in the regular season. The fly out the left field, and they got a guy going too far off of first base. Forgot who it was at this point, but they doubled off a man at first base. The Dodgers doubled off a Brewer at first base. That I don't remember that ever happening during the regular season. Somebody getting caught off base like that. Just those kind of things. Throughout the season, they played with a high baseball IQ. Didn't swing at pitches outside the strike zone. Made pitchers work. And I thought in the first inning, we saw some of that. But Ohtani was just great. And the Brewers, undisciplined at the plate, kind of played in all 4 of these games. All 4 of these losses. I don't know how what are they missing? I mean, you win 97 games during the regular season. Where did that get you, really? Got you a lot of money at the gate. Mark Attanasio was the big winner, right? Mark Attanasio, the owner of the team. Man, look how many sellouts. $2.6 million. He's the big winner. But as far as championships, what do you got to do? How can you get to this point? Is it possible to even contend? I really thought going into this, and maybe I was naive to think about this, but I've been around sports a long time, and I've been around covering this Brewers team for a heck of a long time. And I thought the Brewers were going to beat the odds of the big market, small market thing. And like I said in my post-game video, I don't consider the Cubs big market, right? They're not. We don't consider them big market. Although Murphy did say maybe that Cubs series took a little bit out of these guys, an emotional 5-game set. I'll go one further. Maybe the emotion of just 162 games took its toll. But I don't know. How can you win a championship? I thought they could defy the odds this year. But 97 wins, and yeah, they went 6-0 against the Dodgers in the regular season. Turns out that didn't mean anything. You got to play your best baseball in October. The Dodgers are selling shirts all over the stadium, built for fall. They certainly were. While they were getting swept by the Pirates, the Brewers were on their way to the best record in baseball at home field advantage. It didn't bother the Dodgers one bit. They were just digging in, and this is what happened. They got guys healthy. Shohei was not good in the playoffs. And I remember it was at the press conference yesterday. They were asking Dave Roberts about, he took extra batting practice, and he put a couple of on the roof over there. And I was like, Shohei, that's the last guy you got to worry about if you're the Dodgers or anybody, because you know that guy's one of the greatest ball players of all time. I don't think we have anybody who knows anything about baseball knows that. And he showed it tonight. Great guy, great players like that. They got the ability that when they're going bad, to turn it around in an instant. He's the one guy on this field who could do something like that. There's a couple of others, but none of those guys play at the Milwaukee Brewers. But Ohtani is obviously one of the greatest ever. Yes, one of the greatest ever. Pitching, offense, obviously. And he put on a show here tonight. Everybody will be talking about Ohtani for a while. Greatest performance in Major League playoff history. Like Mr. October and Reggie Jackson. 1977 against the Dodgers. Look it up on YouTube. Reggie went 3 homers in a World Series game. Quintana started this game for the Brewers, and first time, I feel like he hadn't pitched since May, but he obviously was rusty. Dodgers had something to do with that, and the Dodgers got up to that 3-0 lead. Quintana put them in a hole, kind of settled down a little bit after that. But the Brewers pitching held the Dodgers to 15 runs in 4 games. Not bad, right? I mean, the pitching wasn't the problem for me or for anybody. It should be for anybody. The pitching, I thought, was pretty good for the Brewers, right? I mean, you hold these guys to what you did, 15 runs in 4 games, if I got the math right in that. You should at least win one of those games. Murph said before the press conference, before the game yesterday or today, he said, God, if you hold the team to 10 runs, you should win one of those games. 10 runs over 3 games. You should win one of those games. Well, 15 runs over 4 games, and they didn't win any of them. Just frustrating, because I really thought this was going to be a team to get to the World Series. I really do. All season long, the Brewers, to me, showed why they were the best team in baseball for most of the season, most of the summer. Number 1 in the power rankings, but none of that really means anything, right? And I don't know what they have to do. How do you get better on 97 wins? I mean, obviously, they're in a position where they got the 97 wins with young guys. That's huge, because they're developing and they're winning. That's a rare combination, because most teams that have a Frelick and Turang and young guys like Durbin, well, you're like the Pittsburgh Pirates. But these guys have been fortunate to get some playoff experience in the last 3 years. But it's got to be more. We want more. Yeah, they got by the Cubs. I wish they would have competed better in this series. I wish they would have. But maybe the Dodgers are just that team of destiny. Big market, small market. There's going to be a debate for that, obviously, with baseball negotiations. That's going to be for a different day. But 4-game sweep. Man, that's if you would have told me a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, or even the start of the series, that the Dodgers are going to sweep the series, would have never taken them on the Vegas odds. I wonder what the odds were. All right, I'm going to give you some numbers, series numbers, and just how futile it was for the Brewers in this series. We'll get to that coming up next. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers. PrizePicks, America's way to go for picking more or less on player projections. Playing PrizePicks, fun, simple way to add more excitement to watching football, baseball, you name it. Just like Josh Allen, more or less passing yards, Saquon Barkley, maybe Aaron Rodgers. Pick 2 to 6 players and see your money grow. It is good to be right with PrizePicks. And right now with PrizePicks, download the PrizePicks app. Use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But you got to use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. You love how quick it is. Terrific payouts as well. Select their pass yards, rush yards, touchdowns, all in one lineup, more or less. And again, after you play your first $5 lineup, you'll get $50 in lineups using that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Download the PrizePicks app today and get started this weekend. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This is our last show, obviously. We're going to be here all off season talking Brewers baseball with you, as we always are. We got more to come here on the show. But our podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet. Yesterday was the most downloaded podcast in Locked On Brewers history. Locked On Brewers history, the most downloaded podcast. And it's this podcast is a success because of you great Brewer fans out here. Also, if you're listening to us already on the audio platforms, go to Locked On Brewers on YouTube, search Locked On Brewers on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alert you every time we drop an episode of Locked On Brewers. We'll be here with all the Brewers news throughout the offseason. Just want to let you guys know that real quick. Some numbers on the Brewers in this series. Man, it's pathetic. Bryce Turang, 1 for 15. He swung at a pitch today, and I don't know what he was doing. But, man, it was bad. And that's not Bryce Turang. Yelich, 1 for 14. Unacceptable for Christian Yelich. I don't know what that guy's got to do to become playoff worthy, because what is it, a coincidence? The lights get too bright for him. The guy has proven he can play in the major leagues on a high level. Why can't he get it done in the postseason? Contreras, I was surprised with Contreras. 2 for 14 in this series. Base hit to finish off the night. Ortiz went 0 for 6. Shortstop is going to be an issue in the offseason. Chourio went 3 for 15. That hammy had to be bothering him. Almost hit one out. Andrew Vaughn went 0 for 12. 0 for 12. Frelick, 1 for 14. Look at these numbers. 1 for 15, 1 for 14, 2 for 14, 0 for 12, 1 for 14, 3 for 15 from your guys you're expecting to produce. Best player, Durbin, went 3 for 14. I think it is. 3 for 14? Yeah. But, yeah, you're not going to beat anybody. You're not going to beat the Dodgers. You're not going to beat the Pirates with those type of numbers. And then Frelick bouncing, one out, minute first and second. I think, okay, you got something going here. When Frelick bounces in that double play, it was like, Frelick, one of the fastest guys in baseball. He bounces into a double play. I'm not putting the blame on him, but that was just like the cherry on top right there. That the season was just, that this game was not going to happen. It was one of the few false rallies they had in this series. One of the few false rallies they had. I hate to blame anybody in this, but I'm really disappointed that Yelich went 1 for 14, and it wasn't much of a factor in that Cubs series either. The strikeouts. Not even any balls that were hit hard. Possibilities of shots. Well, that goes for a lot of these guys, though. Were there any warning track fly balls here in Los Angeles? None in these 2 games. Nothing. Did anybody hit, other than Churio, any ball get to the warning track here? That hard hit? Maybe the Brewers do need a bopper. We're going to talk about that in the offseason as well. We got plenty to talk about in the offseason. Oh. Season started off 0-4 for the Brewers, and it ends at 0-4. What a coincidence. They played their 4 worst games of the season in a row to start the season. 3 in New York against the Yankees. On opening day, they got crushed by Kansas City, and it looked like it was going to be a 100-loss year. They rebounded and had the best record in baseball. They started off 0-4, and they finished off 0-4 futilely. 0-4. Odd, huh? You start off bad, and you finish bad. By the 6th inning, I was checking. By the 5th inning, I was checking Saturday flights already. Like, they're not coming back. My post-game report, I actually did 2. I did a post-game report after Shohei hit his second one, and then he hit another one. I'm like, well, I might as well update it a little bit. So I did another one as I was walking down to the locker room. Didn't even stick around and watch the final 2 innings. Went down to the locker room. Even that, after Frelick bounced out, it was like, that was it. That was it right there. So are we anything better than jobbers? And when I say jobbers, maybe a transitional champion, a team that looks so great in the regular season, got the championship belts in the regular season, like the Iron Sheik, a transitional champion. Make this team the regular season champion only to job out to the Dodgers. If I could use a wrestling term there for a second. Like Iron Sheik was the champion for like a couple of weeks after he won from Backlund, and he was the champion so they could give it to Hogan. Are the Brewers, did they just job out to the Dodgers here? Just thought they really were impressive offensively. Weren't that impressive offensively, the Brewers. And the Dodgers weren't nothing really to speak of either. All right, we're going to come back and wrap this up and take it home. We're going to do that right after this timeout. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. It's the weekend, everybody. College football. There's no baseball on Saturday, obviously, with the Brewers losing. But you got plenty of college football in the NFL coming up on Sunday as well. The NFL, FanDuel has got great live betting. Terrific live betting. It's easy to navigate around. It's easy to get around. Makes it really easy to play. And right now, new customers bet $5, $300 in bonus bets. If your bet wins, that $5 bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets right in your account. You can use it any way you want. Live betting, betting on tennis, whatever you want. Pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets all across the app. But here's what you got to do. What are you waiting for? You got to get to FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. Check it out yourself, just how user-friendly it is, especially the live betting. The live betting is great. Live betting is great in general. There's some real value there. You might see what I did last week. I saw Ole Miss down early, 4th-ranked team in the country, as a 33-point favorite, getting minus 225 all over the Rebs. Stuff like that you take advantage with on FanDuel, but you got to download the FanDuel app today. Get started. Again, bet $5. It wins. You get $300 in bonus bets added to your account. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. All right. Down the stretch we come. Couple of things here. Just getting to the ballpark. I was surprised Churio was playing left field. Why was Churio playing left field when he's got a hamstring? Why did they put Yelich out in left field? Which leads me to believe that Yelich, was his back bothering him where he couldn't play the outfield? Because you would guess if Yelich is healthy, wouldn't he play left field? And Churio, who hobbled around on a hamstring yesterday and has been hobbled by it, had a cramp yesterday, he said, but he was in the lineup today. Wouldn't you put Churio at DH, you put Yelich out in left field. I'm wondering, something else bothering Yelich because he looks terribly bad. I mean, just awful. And I'm wondering if the long season, and he played a lot of games, if it took its toll on Christian Yelich. What's it going to take to play championship baseball? Was in the locker room after the game today, and the players, the organization feels like they're on the right track. I feel like they're on the right track. I feel we're going to have winning baseball here for the next several years. Now, you never know. You just never know. But I think we're in a good position. I mean, are we in a position to win a championship? I don't know. I kind of thought that was going to be placed this year. But I do say this. They're going to be the favorites to win the NL Central. It's going to be an interesting year for teams like Cincinnati, St. Louis, transitioning with a new general manager, and the Chicago Cubs, our number one enemy. Right? Supposed to be a big winter for them, too. Now, traditionally, the Brewers haven't done much in the offseason, just like they didn't do much at the trading deadline. We'll see. Couple of quick question marks. Ortiz, is he your shortstop next year? I haven't talked about this in a long time, probably since late spring, but I have a feeling Turang is your shortstop of the future. Second base, Durbin, they might be looking for a third baseman. Ortiz, the odd man out. Ortiz just can't hit. He's not a very good bunter either, but he can field amazingly. Field a Gold Glove type shortstop, even though he's not up for a Gold Glove award. Frelick and Turang are, but not Ortiz. Will we see a little movement on the infield? That's stuff we're going to have to answer here in the next few weeks. And there's a few other guys, too. Real quick. Mutual options. Woodruff, Hoskins, Jansen, Quintana. Which one of those will be back? We did talk to Woody in the locker room after the game. He said he hasn't, he didn't want to talk about it. He's not going to tell us, well, guys, I don't think I'm coming back next year. Of course. And he talked in whether I'm playing here or whether I'm playing somewhere else, I still feel I can contribute to a team. And I feel like he can as well. Would have been nice to have him in the series. That's not the reason why the Brewers lost this series. But Woodruff, I think it's got like a $20 million mutual option there. We'll see. Coming off not pitching in the postseason and that surgery from a year and a half, 2 years ago, looked great during the regular season. We'll talk further, speculate whether or not Woodruff will come back next year. And guys like Hoskins, I don't think Quintana. Lots of decisions. And also the Brewers are faced with one more decision here in the offseason. Are they going to trade Freddy Peralta? Just like they traded Corbin Burns with 1 year left in his contract, just like they traded Devin Williams with one more year in his contract. That has happened in each of the last 2 years. Will they do that with Peralta, who's due $8 million next year? Will they trade him? Obviously, he would draw big-time interest on the trade market. That's what the Brewers have to ask themselves. Could they get back a boatload for Freddy Peralta, who's under a contract with next year? Or could they not get a boatload? Well, he's a starting pitcher. Yes, I think you get a couple of decent players, just like Burns. You got Ortiz and Hall for him a couple of years ago. I think you a couple of quality players for him. For Peralta, absolutely. But that's a decision we'll see if they make. If they trade Freddy Peralta in the offseason. We got a lot of time to talk about it. We talk Brewers baseball with you daily. Offseason, we got a lot of things to get to. Arbitration, baseball winter meetings. But we're going to let this 97-win season and a bowing out of the NLCS marinate a little while. Brewers feel like they're in good position to come back and run it back next year. Big off season. We got a lot to get to. We'll do that at a later date. We'll talk to you beginning on Monday, everybody. Shows all through next week and throughout the fall and winter. It's going to be a great off season. And I want to thank you all for joining me after each and every game here Sometimes you guys are watching this in the middle of the night. I see the watches and early mornings, and I cannot appreciate it, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. You guys make this possible. You guys were here all season long. I'm just disappointed that this season ended, and I'm disappointed for you guys out there, Brewers fans, because you guys deserve it most, and how you supported this team. Despite winning no championships, yet you guys support this team like they're a 13-time world champion. Funny how Dodger fans tonight. I don't see anybody around here. Brewer fans, that parking lot would be jumping right now. It's old hat for these guys. So, talk to you Monday, everybody. My name is Chuck Freimund. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Have yourself a great weekend.